Hey guys, I just got back from Newport, Rhode Island. Very cool town. Very small town, but very cool town. And historic town. The oldest synagogue in America. They needed a minyan. I mean, they had a minyan, but they wanted to make a minyan. Make sure they had a minyan. So this very young rabbi who just started there decided to make a meal and host a meal and a whole thing over there. It's very cool. And the synagogue there, it's called Turo Synagogue. The first rabbi there was 18 years old, Turo. And then it was his son, and then came his grandson. And the synagogue was recognized, the congregation was recognized by both President Washington and President Adams. And they, you know, sang their praises. And they really gave them these are not rabbis themselves, these are not rabbis, but they gave them their blessings. And they basically said, you guys are representing the Jewish people here in this country, and this is like a bastion of religious freedom and all that kind of stuff. And President Adams said, he said, you guys should very, very soon have Judea. You should be able to go back to Judea. Didn't mean that he wanted to kick Jews out. He meant that we should have our country again. And he said this, when in the early 1800s, late 1700s, early 1800s. So you're talking about, some, I don't know, 50 years before Jews started coming back en masse, or 80 years. Jews were already coming back at that time, and he knew it. The rabbis were coming back with their students, more so. The Alter Rebbe was sending students there. Rabbi Nachman, all Gaon of Vilna, they sent all their students to Israel, whether it was Tzfat or Jerusalem or Tiberias, and these presidents knew that. Word gets around, folks. And all this stuff was happening at the same time. The founding of Chassidut, and the Revolutionary War, and also the French Revolution at the same time. A lot of things were happening. There was a certain mazal in the world, and it all, and this shul was part of it. And so, it was very, you're in there, and it's a very hallowed ground. It's a beautiful building, and yeah, it's just amazing. Very cool feeling. And then today I got to see some tennis, because they have the they have the Tennis Hall of Fame there, and so they have a tournament every summer, the Hall of Fame Open, which is like a minor tournament, a professional tournament, but it's basically the guys who are ranked like the best guy there. He's ranked 100 in the world, which is still like incredible, because you see these guys up close, and it's like, like I used to play tennis, right? So you see a guy like he's ranked, I don't know, 400 in the world or 250 in the world, and you see him up close, like literally up close, like a few feet, and he's throwing bombs, like serves 130, 140 miles an hour, and it's like absurd. So that was pretty cool. Got to see that. But yeah, guys, actually very symbolic to be there on July 4th. Just to be a part of Jewish history in this country, and just so people understand, that there is a connection between America and Israel. There is a connection. It's an undeniable connection. With that said, just because people have a connection, just because nations have a connection, a spiritual connection, one of the things that's going to happen is that you're going to have like a thing where, you know, one brother says jump and the other one says how high, and even just because there's a connection doesn't mean that there has to be you know, this type of relationship, you know. People have to have their independence. The Jewish people, the land of Israel, the people of Israel have to have their independence. You know, it's its own country. It has to have its independence. It shouldn't say, oh, you know, I have some friends in Israel who are like, oh, America is Esav and screw Esav and it's Rome and it's this and it's that. Folks, that is stupid, okay? For those of you watching, it's stupid. You're stupid, okay? Yes, you're stupid. I say this with love, but you're being stupid. You're being stupid. Like, some of you guys have businesses here. You live in Israel, you have businesses here in America, okay? So shut up. Like, honestly, shut up, okay? And if it wasn't for certain things, you know, people that are here making money, you wouldn't even have yeshivas, okay? I don't know where you get your money from. You also wouldn't have your, you know, whatever businesses you're running over there. Whether it's tourism, so shut up, okay? It's like, folks, I'm all for Aliyah. Honestly, I think at this point people are going to have to leave America. But at the same time, I've had just about enough of this, you know, self-righteousness crap. It's a different story. So, it's not, you know, this place is in Rome. And if it does look like Rome or Bavel or whatever, it's because these stupid Gnostic fruitcakes have turned it into that, okay? The founding fathers, you know, the people who built those buildings with the Roman columns and all the rest of it, the founding fathers actually fought them, like politically fought them. They've been at war with them since the founding of this country, okay? They wanted everything based on Tanakh. I don't know if you know, guys. Go to Congress. Inside of Congress is a depiction of Moshe Rabbeinu. And then there's like statues of, you know, Rambam and Shlomo Melech. Like, come on, guys. Like, seriously. They wanted to make, the founding fathers of America wanted to make Hebrew the official language. And they didn't because, you know, people had to learn Hebrew. Okay? They knew Hebrew, they could read it. But they realized most people can't, okay? So they just kept it in English. You understand that, folks? Mister, you understand this? So people talk about Rome, this, that. Yeah, there's Gnostic fruitcakes here who would love nothing more than for this place to turn into Rome. Yeah, they're trying to make it into Rome the whole time. That's why it looks like Rome. All this entertainment crap, all this whatever that you see before you. That said, guys, the relationship has to be healthy. You can't have a thing where, you know, we have Bibi flying over here. What is it, on Tuesday, Monday, coming here, you know, talking about making a supposed deal. What kind of deal is this? Qatar, Egypt, Iran, you know? And you have this like perplexing Witkoff guy who nobody understands what the hell he's doing to this day. Mr. You know, I sold a giant hotel in Park Avenue, not in Park Avenue, in Central Park. to the Qataris. Nobody's mentioned that, folks. I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, you know? You ever get that feeling? Hello? Why does nobody notice this? I invented the piano key necktie. You guys ever seen the Zoolander, you know? Nobody notices it except for Mugato, you know? Like, yeah, folks, you can't have a relationship like this. You need, even brothers have to have their own autonomy. Help each other, yeah, moral support. If you really need help, yes, you know? Someone's getting attacked, yes. But like, okay, you're gonna do this because I'm giving you money. Okay, so let's stop taking money. That's it, folks. Like, what's so difficult here? Well, see, you don't understand. Blah 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 blah. I understand very well. We look at what happens in front of our faces. What's not to understand? We have hostages still. We have, a war that could have been won in a month. We're fighting it for almost 2 years, year and a half. But yeah, Tzvi doesn't understand. Nobody understands, right? Tzvi, you just don't understand. You don't understand. You guys understand, right? The people in our government understand. You know how I know they understand? Because I know they understand, and they won't fix it, folks. They won't fix the damn thing, okay? And we have an enemy that even their so-called friends don't even want to take in, don't want to help, okay? They don't even want to tell them to jump or how high or whatever. They don't even, like with us, you know, we have so-called friends that tell us jump, we say how high. They don't even have that. They have, I don't know what. People are willing to throw them under the bus. And people, by the way, who have, you know, these guys were crushed, those people, supposed friends, would jump up and jump for joy. That finally, somebody took care of them. This nuisance that folks, you know how many, when Israel bombed Iran, how many people in Europe, how many officials in Europe privately were jumping up and down like, like that little, what's her name? Chun-Li from Street Fighter 2. You know, like that, behind closed doors. Especially that macaroon guy. You know how many people that did that? Everybody. You think they want to deal with Iran? No. You think they like Israel? No. Well, who do they hate more? Yeah, very good. Folks, the rule of thumb is everybody's a bullshit artist, pardon my language. Okay? Everybody's a bullshit artist, and because they're all bullshit artists, and because their words don't mean anything, and their admonitions don't mean anything, and their cries of whatever don't mean anything, that means that we have to take care of business, guys. And look out for number one. Israel, yeah, Israel has to look out for number one. With everything I just said about the relationship and the history and everything with America and what America is, it doesn't matter. It has to be a healthy relationship, folks, and it has not been healthy. It's been codependent, mostly on one side. It's bad. And I think that's part of the Mashiach process, honestly. The Mashiach process is us shedding, Jewish people shedding this whole thing. Just like, what's about to happen in New York. In a way, I think it's good because, it's not good, but I don't want people to be attacked. But, folks, at the end of the day, the most populous Jewish city in the world, outside of Israel, may just become unrecognizable, especially for Jews. And, maybe it's a nice wake-up call. Even if that guy doesn't become the mayor, it's still a nice wake-up call because people will start seeing the trajectory of everything that's going on. And maybe, just maybe, people will, realize that it might be time to come home. If not leave the place, time to come home. If not stop living in cities maybe just time to, maybe just time to, you know, leave the concrete jungles and start, like, I don't know, homesteading or living off the land. Start, you know, the Jewish people have to start preparing or practicing to live on their own land, to cultivate their own land, their own beautiful land, you know, their own vineyards, their own crops, their own everything. They rely, folks, Jewish people rely too much on other people bringing their food to them in like a you know, I say this to myself, in like a supermarket, you know, in a store, in a industrial, some kind of industrial setting. We rely on that too much, guys. Again, I say this as a person who works in the, you know, I don't know, liquor business, and a person who works partially in the foods, you know, drinks business, whatever. Like, we have to grow our own stuff, guys. And that's where the Jews belong. On land, yes, farming. Like, you know, Jackie Mason joke, so the Jew does not farm. He may own a farm, but he doesn't work on a farm. Actually, yes, he does. He does work on a farm. Folks, we have 500 wineries in Israel. We have vineyards all over the place, as far as the eye can see. It's about time, guys. And maybe in a way it's good with this whole New York thing, you know? Wake us up a little bit. Folks, we are originally, the Jewish people are originally hill people, hill dwellers. Hills and valleys, terraces, you know, terraces, Terraces. That's where we will live. Read the story of Hanukkah, right? The battles. We were sitting on the side of mountains, waiting for our enemies to come, you know, walk through a valley. And that's where we got them. That's where we, you know, that's where we took our bows and arrows and all our weapons and just, you know, did what we did. Nobody wants to talk about that, guys. You know, everybody wants to talk about Woody Allen and Mel Brooks and Larry David. Nobody wants to talk about the Jew that made Hanukkah. Or what the heck is Hanukkah even about? Dedicating the temple in Jerusalem. Oh, really? Wow. And all those battles were happening in Judea and Samaria. My friends, there's an entire identity that we've lost. It connects to what I was saying. And we, you know, it's part of the product of Galus, of exile. And we have to reintroduce ourselves to ourselves. You know, like in allow myself to introduce myself. That's what we have to do. And part of it, and then maybe that will lead to us having a healthy relationship with our brother, Esav, in this case, Tov, Shiva Esav, the good part of Esav, right? Who Bibi's going to meet tomorrow. By the way, guys, I don't know if this is by design again, by Bibi or by Trump or by both, I don't know. It's going to be the 12th of Tammuz and the 13th, the anniversary of the release of the 6th Rebbe from jail. It's also wrote down by the Rebbe, the 7th Rebbe, that it's an auspicious day for Jews, you know, if not to get the ultimate redemption, to at the very least have your own personal You know, as we say, ship come in. If you've been waiting for your ship to come in, waiting as in you've been working towards something, not just sitting around and doing nothing. You're working towards something. And it's like, no, come on already, you know? So, it's an auspicious day. Tomorrow and the next day. Frankly, until the end of the week. So, I guess pretty much until the 17th of Tammuz, and it's really an auspicious week this week. A lot of stuff's going to be decided. It's been explained to me. I've been made to understand. Alright guys, so America, Israel, where does this all pan out? And are we going to have a healthy relationship? It's not about hatred and it's not about this or that. It's just about a healthy relationship. It's all good. Alright guys, Shavua Tov.